Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
So hi guys, how are you doing? Now as you know, we're in 2015 now, 2014 is in the past, but in the year of 2014 I saw quite a lot of really good performances in theatre that I would like to talk to you about. I did this last year as well, in which I listed my top 5 favourite performances of 2013, and now I want to do it for this year, for this past year actually, 2014. So basically it's going to be my top 5 favourite new performances that I saw for the first time in 2014. And it'd be nice to see if you agree with me or not, so feel free to leave comments and it'll be nice to discuss performances, because, you know, it's good to acknowledge great performances, because actors work hard, believe it or not, and sometimes when you see a great actor or a great performance, you just, you know, performances that stay with you, you just want to remember them forever. So that's why I'm doing this video, and I feel like there are quite a few good ones in this list. Anyway, let's start with number 5. At number 5, I've put Simon Lipkin in I Can't Sing the Musical. Now, I Can't Sing the Musical was a fail. It's been established now. It only lasted for like a month and a half or something, and it was gone before it even opened properly. So it's a fail of a musical when you think about it, which is unfortunate because I actually enjoyed it and I went to see it a couple of times, and I thought it was quite good. It was enjoyable. It wasn't a great musical, but it was a fun musical and I loved it. But anyway, this isn't about the musical itself. It's about Simon Lipkin's performance as the dog in the musical. I can't even remember the name of the dog. I think it was called Barlow. I don't know, but if you want, you can watch my review from that show in the description as always. But anyway, I thought his performance was definitely one of the best things about that musical. He was very funny. Every time he was on stage, people laughed, I laughed. I think even though it wasn't the best musical ever, he managed to actually, you know, make people laugh and bring smiles to people and make the most of what he was given. And the dog, Barlow, was actually one of the highlights of the show in my opinion, and I think for that he definitely deserves to be recognised by me and loads of other people hopefully. I think in fact most people who went to see it named him and a few of the other performers in the show as some of the standouts. In fact, it makes me sad because I think that show had a lot of good performers in it. It just unfortunately didn't do well because the material wasn't very good. But anyway, Simon Lipkin as Barlow the dog in I Can't Sing would be my number 5 top performance of 2014. At number 4, I've put Kilian Donnelly from Memphis. Now unfortunately I can't remember the name of the guy in Memphis that Kilian plays, but it's basically the DJ guy. Kilian Donnelly plays this DJ guy, the main guy in the musical Memphis, and he is phenomenal in it. I've never been the biggest Kilian Donnelly fan. Like, I'd seen him in quite a few shows before, Billy Elliot, Les Mis, Phantom. I actually quite liked him in Phantom. What else? The Commitments. But I've never been like completely amazed by his performance. But in Memphis, his performance is outstanding, like faultless. The energy that he has, the dedication that he puts into the role, I just thought was phenomenal. Like, it was definitely one of the best performances I've ever seen in my history of going to theatre, and his voice is incredible and he really gets to show us in Memphis, so I think he definitely deserves to be number 4 on my top performances of 2014. Right, at number 3, I've put Kwang-ho's performance in Miss Saigon. Now Kwang-ho plays the role of Tui. Tui is Kim's cousin who comes into the show about halfway through, and he's not a very likeable character. He's never meant to be a likeable character, but the way Kwang-ho plays this part makes him so human, and you genuinely care for him even though he's not the most likeable character because of what he wants to do. You care for him and you kind of don't like him at the same time, and it's just this really weird feelings and emotions that you get when you watch his performance, and I think that's an incredible skill to have, to be able to make people feel that way. And his voice, Kwang-ho, anyone who's seen him would say the same, I think. His voice is just gorgeous. It's one of the best voices I've ever heard, best male voice I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, and I think if you don't know, Kwang-ho is actually Korean. And he used to play this part, I think, in the Korean production of Miss Saigon years ago. He's a big Korean pop star, actually. A lot of people come to see Miss Saigon because of him, only because they know him. Yeah, his performance in Miss Saigon is outstanding, and it's one thing I've noticed as somebody who works there every day is that he's very consistent. Every single night he puts on an incredible show. Like, he's never less than perfect. He always gives outstanding performances, 100% every night, and I just can't fault him. He's acting phenomenal, so intense, and his voice is just amazing. So it's a bit sad as well actually, because he's leaving the production at the end of this week. I think he's coming back in about 2 months to finish his contract, but he's not going to be in Miss Saigon for much longer. So if you haven't seen him, go and see him either this week or wait until he comes back, because he's just one of the best performers I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, Kwang-ho Hung as Twee in Miss Saigon would get my number 3. Right, and number 2 on my top 5 favourite performances of 2014, I put Jon Jon Briones' performance as the engineer in Miss Saigon. Jon Jon Briones is by far the star of the show in my opinion. Miss Saigon is a great show, but Jon Jon Briones, I think, is the one that holds it together every single night. He's, again, one of the best actors I've ever seen. His acting and dedication to the part is just inspiring, really, and his comedy moments, he's just, when he's on stage you can't help but want to watch him, and he's an incredible actor. I can't even really explain it properly unless you just go and see him, but it's a kind of acting and a kind of performance that I very rarely see in musical theatre, and because of that it's very memorable. I think every single person that comes and sees Miss Saigon will say the same, that Jon Jon is definitely one of the highlights. Like Kwang-ho, he's one of the few people who is very consistent. Like every single night he gives 100%, and he's never been less than amazing. I'm not gonna lie, one of the reasons I actually enjoy working at Miss Saigon is Jon Jon's performances, because he's always entertaining. He's a great entertainer, and he's a really nice guy as well. Like if you meet him, you just, such a lovely, humble guy, and I just think his talent needs to be recognised everywhere. I really hope he wins some kind of award for his performance as the engineer, because it's like I said, it's a performance that I've never really seen before anyway. It's a kind of performance that really, it's just a high quality performance. He's an incredible actor, an incredible singer, just an amazing performer, and he inspires me. Every time I watch him I'm like, wow, this is what an actor should be like, and yeah, I think he definitely deserves the number 2 spot. So I was about to edit this video, and suddenly I had this crazy realisation that I forgot to mention one particular person in my top 5 favourite performances of 2014, and I was like, I can't mention this person because this person was actually one of my highlights, definitely one of my highlighted performances of 2014, so I can't believe I forgot to name them. But I can't be bothered to redo the whole video, so I just thought I'd mention them randomly. I don't know what number they'd have, like in my top 5. They'd be somewhere in there, like top 6 really now, because there's 6 of them. But they would be somewhere there. Probably not my number 1, maybe my number 2 or number 3, number 4, I don't know. They were just one of my favourite performances of 2014, and that person is Alexander Burke in The Bodyguard. I completely forgot about it because it was early on in the year, and I don't know, because The Bodyguard isn't a new show, I guess, like I'd seen it before, the year before, I forgot about it. But yeah, Alexander Burke in The Bodyguard was phenomenal. She was only in it for a few months before the show closed, but she's actually going to be in it again on tour very soon, so if you manage to go and see her, I am hoping to go and see her at some point when it comes near London. But yeah, I thought she was fantastic, considering that was her first ever theatre role, like professionally. She was great, voice-wise, vocally, she was amazing as Rachel. Like, she could just sing those Whitney Houston songs as if they were just, I don't know, she's just fantastic. I love Alexander Burke, I think she's great, and I think acting-wise as well, even though, of course, she wasn't perfect, she was amazing, considering it was her first time doing a show like that in the West End. So yeah, Alexander Burke is definitely worth a mention, so yeah, I just thought I'd add that in somewhere before I get to my number 1. But anyway, we're finally down to my number 1 favourite performance of 2014, and that may be a bit predictable for you guys if you know me, but that's going to go to Catherine Kingsley for her performance in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Now, Catherine Kingsley is a performer that I've loved in musicals for a few years now, since like early 2012, and I've seen her in quite a few different things, and she's always been incredible, but in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels she is just fantastic. For me, even though I love Dirty Rotten Scoundrels as a show, Catherine Kingsley is definitely the highlight for me, and she's one of the main reasons that I really love it, because her character that she plays, of course, Christine, is a very great character, I think. It's a very different and unique character. It's kind of one of those characters that you don't really get very often in musical theatre, so it's quite a fun one to play, I think. But also just the way she plays it, she's just so funny. Such a funny, talented person, and her voice is amazing, and she really gets to experiment with different kinds of acting and accents and stuff in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, so yeah, I just think it's a great role, and she does an incredible job of it every night. So yeah, I think, and I hope that she wins something for it or gets recognised for it. I know she's been nominated for it and on a few different like forums and websites and stuff for her performance in this, but anyway, she's just great. She is outstanding basically in this part. So funny. Again, it's one of those roles, one of those things where like most people that go and see the show say that she is one of the highlights. And it's kind of nice as well because, you know, especially when it first opened, like Robert Lindsay and Samantha Bond and Rufus Houndwood, but were all like big names. whereas Catherine Kingsley was just kind of like a musical theatre name, not a very well-known name to the general public, and yet she was one of the highlights that everyone was talking about, and I think that's great. But yeah, that's it. She's my number one, and that was my top 5 list of favourite performances of 2014. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me or not, and yeah guys, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!